Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of MetsMusings. I'm your host, Gary Mack, and before we get into all the Mets news, let me just hit you off with a quick stat. 82% of you watching these videos are not subscribed. So do me a favor, hit that free subscription button. It really helps out the channel, helps me continue bringing you great Mets content, and you won't miss any updates. And while you're at it, leave a comment. They're free also, and it helps us to know what direction we should take the show in. Well, let's get down to it now. The Mets did not have a great week, let's be honest. 2 out of 3 they lost in Philadelphia. They came home to play Atlanta. They lose the first 2 games. Broke through last night. They finally beat Atlanta, finally won another game. And they have 1 remaining tonight with Atlanta as we record this on Thursday afternoon. Must win for the Mets. They must get a split in the series. Very important. Very important that they split this series with the Braves. I mean, they're still ahead with the Phillies winning the season series, but you must win the season series against these Eastern Division contenders in case of a tie. You want to have won the season series. They're in the hole now with Atlanta. Philadelphia, as I just said, they still have a slight lead over them. A lot of games left to play. They cannot play the way they played in Philadelphia. The starting pitching all of a sudden is not going that far. And the bullpen has, quite frankly, imploded. I'm not even going to go into who's in the bullpen anymore because there's just so many changes on a daily basis to keep fresh arms coming. They're moving guys in and out and signing guys and sending guys down, bringing guys up. I mean, it would take a whole show just for the transactions, and we've got a long injury update. So, I'm not going to get into that, but suffice it to say, some of the guys they brought up haven't done the job either, and they've been sent back down. They do miss some of the guys that were hurt. The good news is some of them will be coming back. It's a time now when they have to keep their heads above water, and the offense has got to come through. The offense has been terrible. They've been hitting a barrage of home runs, most of them solo shots, but you can't win that way. They hit 3 the other night, and they lost the game. You got to be able to hit the home runs for sure, but you also want to drive in the little runs. The combination is what you need, and the combination with men on base. This team is terrible with runners in scoring position. They're getting the guys on. They're getting the hits. They're getting in position, but right now they're not driving them in. And they're swinging at pitches out of this strike zone. Their chase rate has got to be through the roof. Lindor and Alonso and the Mauricio last night notwithstanding have been awful during this losing streak. And the bottom of the lineup is producing nothing. Between Alvarez and Young and Tyrone Taylor hits a little bit, but once you get past the sixth guy in a batting order, it's free sailing. The next three are terrible. Terrible. They're doing nothing. And there's been a consequence of that. So, that's what the Mets have to do. And on a side note, if I may talk about the catchers, this is a really sore point with me. I don't buy this whole crap that these catchers are being taught now with being on one knee. You cannot shift. You cannot move. And that is why we see Alvarez with these pass balls, or sometimes they're wild pitches. But some of those wild pitches he should have been able to get to. But we're seeing a lot of that. Why? Because they're on their knees. They can't shift. Now, I never played at this level. I'm granted, I'm not an expert. But when I was taught how to catch, you're caught in a squat, and I forget what they called it, a half squat or whatever, with a man on base. And you could shift. You could shift to the left. You could shift to the right to block balls in the dirt. Now, they've got these gloves that are so flexible that they depend too much on it. When I was a kid learning how to catch 100 years ago, the catcher's mitt was like a padded pancake almost. You this big round thing with a pocket in the middle. The first catcher's mitt I had wasn't even hinged, and you caught with two hands like this. Your glove hand and your right hand went like the behind the webbing to try to protect it. That's why if you see a lot of old time catchers, their right pinky is bent from getting foul tips. Johnny Bench changed that. He went to the one-handed because then the catcher's mitt came out hinged. So you could have more flexibility with it. Now they're even more hinged, and they're more like a first baseman's glove than a catcher's mitt. And you'll see catchers used to put their hands behind their back to protect the thumb. But you still stayed on your haunches. You didn't go down on your knee unless in rare circumstances, and really not unless there was never with a man on base. The only one I can ever remember was in those days, back in the 70s and the 60s, was Manny Sanguillen. But he had such a gun for an arm, it didn't matter where he was. And then the later years, the San Diego catcher, Benito, his last name escapes me now. But those were the only guys. But they had guns on them. They had some arm, those two guys, and they can get away with it. And they were quick. You can't be fairly slow and be on your knee. It just doesn't work. And what is the reason? Now, the one reason I hear all the time is for the frame rate, the frame rate. Well, there is a good chance the frame rate's going to go away. If they bring in the automatic strike umpire, whatever you want, a robotic ump, whatever they call that system that they're using in the minors, there's no need to frame a pitch because it doesn't matter. Somebody can challenge it. So all of these guys are learning how to catch this way. They're wrong. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. I think they're wrong. I think they should get up off their effing knees and catch the ball and be ready to throw. It's easier to throw, to stand and throw from there. And it's much easier. I don't know. It's easier to block the pitches in the dirt, and we see a lot of balls in the dirt with this Mets pitching staff, and quite frankly, they're not handling it well. Even Torrens, who's a very good catcher, has had some problems this year. Alvarez, forget it. I don't think he's a very good catcher. I really feel that he doesn't have a lot of baseball savvy. That's just my opinion. But, I wanted to get that off about the Mets and the catching. And all of baseball, the catching. But let's get back to the recap. And as I was saying, the Mets haven't hit. And last night, they finally broke through. Now, Juan Soto's been a guy that has been hitting. And there are signs that some of the pitching is coming back. Frankie Montas came back the other night. And he was terrific for 5 innings. They took him out. He had a 3-0 lead. Bullpen imploded. That was the game. And they lost the game. Last night, Clay Holmes was okay, not bad. The point now is that these guys also are starting to walk a lot of guys. He had 4 walks in 5 innings. And but he just allowed a solo home run to Braves rookie Drake Baldwin, and then the bullpen came in and did a reasonably good job. Brandon Waddell came in, did a nice job in the 6th. Jose Butto in the 7th. Ryan Stanek in the 8th, and then they brought in young Jonathan Pitoro. He struggled. He gave up a couple of runs and had a rough time of it. But I'm not going to... he got 2 outs. Edwin Diaz had to come in to close it out. But I'm not going to be too harsh on the kid. He came up from Double-A. I'm sure the adrenaline was flowing. Everything was, the nerves, everything. And I probably would have put him in maybe in the 8th inning instead of the 9th. But that's what they wanted to do. And they had a big enough lead, so it didn't hurt them. But it gets a little antsy there. You had a couple of guys on. The tying run was on deck, so they brought in Diaz, and he put it out to get the last out and get his 16th save on the season. But tonight's going to be a big night. Griffin Canning, he's got to come out throwing strikes. No walks. They've been doing the walking again. And, you just have to wonder now with the hot weather here and these guys pitching a lot, like a guy like Clay Holmes. Keep in mind, he was a relief pitcher except for his rookie year. So he's way past his innings that he's pitched in the past. And I think Ronnie Darling said it last night that this is the time of year when a lot of pitches get dead-armed and stuff like that. It's not an injury. It's really fatigue. And your strength gets to be a little zapped, and it occurs about this time. So you hope that they can keep their head above water, as I said, until they can get Mania back and McGill, and we'll have an update on that in just a second. And get these guys back and refresh the bullpen and the starting rotation. And, don't forget the All-Star break is coming up in a couple of weeks, so that'll help as well, as they'll get a few days off. So, but catches, get off your knees, please. And big game tonight. Mets have got to try to win this one. I mean, it's very important that they split this series. All right, now let's take a look at the injury update. Hey, Mark Vientos could be back tonight or tomorrow night. He's played rehab games through the weekend. He played. He was scheduled to play through the weekend. He did. He played last night as well. He is traveling to Queens today, and he could be activated today or tomorrow. Then the big question is, who do you send down? Maurizio had 3 hits last night. Brett Beatty had 2 hits. It's going to be one of those two guys. My choice would be, I would think, Maurizio, because he needs to play. He hasn't played in a while. Beatty has shown signs that he can hit up here, so you may want to keep him up here and platoon him with Vientos at third base for the time being to work him back in, and then have Vientos DH as well. But we'll see what happens. But my guess would be it would be Mauricio, because he can play every day. He's been playing every day up here, but at this level, he needs more work. Got a lot of talent, got a lot of strength, big, strong kid. Strikes out way too much. His pitch selection is not good. So he's got to work on that. So, but Vientos, it looks like, could be coming back. Sean Manaea had a little setback. He made 4 appearances on a minor league rehab assignment before complaining of an elbow discomfort, which turned out to be caused by a loose body in the joint. He received a cortisone injection June 24th and is expected to return to the mound July 1st or 2nd. He could be activated 5 or 6 days after that. So maybe they'd be better off waiting till, if he can still pitch in a rehab assignment, get him a couple of more before he comes back, and have him come back after the All-Star break. Jesse Winker, who has been out since forever, it seemed, is scheduled to begin a minor league rehab assignment on June 29th. He will need extended time in the minors to receive at-bats. That process should take multiple weeks, so we won't see him until probably mid to late July, but another body coming back, another guy expected back in July sometime, is Kodai Senga, who continued to move his arm throughout his shutdown period because he was had a hamstring strain. And played catch off a mound for the first time on June 23rd. He will build up to more intensive mound work in the next few weeks. So he could be coming back mid to late July, hopefully, if nothing goes wrong. Jose Siri, I think we've lost him for the season. He was shut down after a MRI showed the bone wasn't healing as well. So he's been put on the 60-day IL, so forget him for a while. Max Kranick could be back in August. He'll refrain from throwing for 3 to 4 weeks, and he'll begin ramping up after that, if symptom-free. He had a right flexor strain, and he's been out, so we could get him back at the end of the year. In August or September. Tyler McGill, he had a right elbow sprain in June 17th. Underwent MRI, no structural damage. He's been resting. He still is resting. He should restart throwing in the next few days if he's symptom-free. So Tyler McGill could come back. And Brooks Raley has started a rehab assignment, and that could be a big boost to the bullpen. Brandon Waddell is now the only lefty in the Mets bullpen as Genesis Cabrera was let go. So it's Waddell. It could be Waddell and Raley as the lefties. Waddell has pitched pretty good, so I would consider holding on to him. So that's the injury report for this week. You know what? Let's take a break at this point and come back after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Okay, and we're back, and congratulations go out to Juan Soto, who last night, had his 27th career multi-homer game, and that is the most in Major League history by a player yet to reach his 27th birthday. Soto having passed Hall of Famer Jimmy Fox in that category with his performance last night. He has 10 home runs in June, tied as of now, tied with Cal Riley and Eugenio Suarez for the most in the majors, including 5 in his last 5 games. So he has been hitting the ball, and we're seeing the true worth of Juan Soto. And as I say, Jonathan Pintero was called up. The 27-year-old right-hander was just promoted to AAA when he got the call to come right up to the big club. So, big thrill for him. He has been solid for the Mets AA Binghamton Rumble Ponies this season. In 11 starts, he pitched to a 3.40 ERA and a 1.11 whip with 57 strikeouts in 42.1 innings. He's been doing a lot of starting in the minors, so that could have thrown him off too last night. He's used to being starting. No word on whether they would start him or consider starting him or keep him in the bullpen, or he could be sent down tonight for all we know and have a fresh arm, a relatively fresh arm, brought up for the last game of the Atlantic Series, or tomorrow for the Pittsburgh series when they go to Pittsburgh. And now it is time to go down on the phone. I did neglect to mention earlier in the show that Francisco Alvarez has been demoted to the Syracuse Mets. His first game back with Syracuse came to a premature end. He was removed after the top half of the first inning in a game against the Rochester Red Wings on Tuesday night due to a heat dizziness issue. He was replaced by Jackson Reitz behind the plate for the home half of the first inning. The game time temperature in Rochester was 90 degrees. Alvarez saw one pitch in his first at bat and hit into a double play. He did play last evening, or yesterday afternoon, I should say, and went 0 for 3 in that game. The Binghamton Rumble Ponies, the Brooklyn Cyclones, and St. Lucie Mets have each won their division's first half titles. So congratulations to those guys. Lots of people contributed, and there's some good players on every team. Binghamton is leading the Eastern League in stolen bases with 103. And leading the pack there is Nick Morabito. He's got 27. Jet Williams, another top prospect, probably the top prospect, is right behind him. He's got 20 stolen bases. Ryan Clifford has contributed. He's got 13 home runs, 41 RBIs. Kevin Parada, a name that has escaped us, who was considered a top prospect not too long ago, has started to hit, and that's a good sign for the Mets. He was ranked high and then just kind of kept slipping and slipping because of his bat, and he's starting to show some ability to hit down in Binghamton. So he may be a name to consider in the future. Binghamton also has some great pitching. They've got Jonah Tong and Jack Wenninger. Tong leads the Eastern League with 107 strikeouts and dominating them with a 1.75 ERA over 67 innings. Wenninger is second in strikeouts and carries a 2.90 ERA with a 7-4 record. So Binghamton is in good shape. And they just got stronger because the Mets promoted Carson Bange and Jacob Raymer from the Brooklyn Cyclones up to the Binghamton squad. And they were key members of the Brooklyn Cyclones squad. And I'll tell you, the Brooklyn Cyclones had probably the most prospects on their team, and still have a number of great prospects on their team. One guy to watch out now, that even now they've lost Raymer and Benj moving up, but they still got Eli Serrano is a good ball player, and the guy to really watch is A.J. Ewing. He stole his 34th base on Tuesday out of 37 tries. This was his 46th game with the Cyclones. He started the season in St. Lucie. He is 20 years old. He was selected in the 4th round of the 2023 amateur draft out of high school. He's second in the Sally League in stolen bases. He's also 4th in both batting average, hitting .299, and on-base percentage at a .414. So he looks like the real deal. Fast. He's played second base. He's played some shortstop. They've played him a lot in all of the outfield spots, right, center, and left in Brooklyn. If you haven't gotten to Brooklyn yet, and now you're going to miss Carson Bange, but you can still see A.J. Ewing, who's there and looks like another fine ball player. So, and they've also got Jesus Baez in Brooklyn, who looks terrific, and he's played a lot of second and short. They move him around as well. I don't think he's played in the outfield, but he's got some pop, and he can run as well. They've just got Christopher Suero and Ronald Hernandez, the catcher, and just got Troy Schleffler, an outfielder. They just got a good, solid team. They got some good pitching down there as well. So get out to a game. All right, let's take a look at the standings. Now, these are the the numbers revert back to zero at the half. So these are the second half standings, and it's going to get dull after a while. Keep saying Mets in first place, but I'm sure that'll change. But the Syracuse Mets, they are 2-0 and in first place, and they have a 1-game lead in their division in the second half. Binghamton is 1-1. They're tied for first, and they are 1-game lead as well. Brooklyn is 4-1, and they are in first, and they have a 1-game lead as well. I'm tired of saying it. St. Lucie is 5-0, and they are in first all by themselves. They have a 2-game lead in their division. And the Florida Complex Mets are 13-22. Unfortunately, they are in last place, and they are in 8.5 games back. They don't play first and the second half to their season, so because they start later. So that's why their numbers are so different. But great first half for Mets affiliates. Second half seems to be starting off just as good, especially in Brooklyn and St. Lucie. And maybe Syracuse, too, can put it together and get in the playoffs by winning the second half. Wouldn't that be nice? That would be terrific. So that's the farm report for this week. And now let's have a scouting report on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Mets are going to play 3 in Pittsburgh over the weekend, starting tomorrow night. Pittsburgh is 32-50, sitting in last place in the NL Central, 15.5 games back behind the division-leading Cubs. Been a tough season for the Buccos, marked by offensive struggles. They've even changed their manager. Derek Shelton was dismissed in early May after a 12-26 start, with Don Kelly stepping in as interim manager. Paul Skeens has been sensational, even though he's got a 4-7 record with a 1.85 ERA and 106 strikeouts and 102 innings pitched. He's a legitimate NL Cy Young contender, despite the team's record. The Mets will not see him, thankfully. He pitched last night. The Mets will not see him. Andrew McCutchen, in what may be his final season, having a nice season. He's hitting .259, 8 home runs, 28 RBIs, and remains a clubhouse leader for that team. And Onel Cruz has flashed power and speed, though consistency remains a problem for him, but he's dangerous, as is the Hayes, the third baseman. So you've always got to be leery of those guys. The Pirates ranked near the bottom of MLB in most offensive categories, and that's been their big problem, their offense, including runs scored, slugging, and OPS. The bullpen has been inconsistent and have wasted starts from Skeens, and we'll see. Now, the Pirates are probably going to be a seller at the trading deadline, and they have a number of veterans, Andrew Haney, Isaiah Khalifa, could be moved for prospects, and maybe the Mets could pop away one of their young pitchers. They do have a number of good arms, and so we'll see what they could do. Maybe the Mets could pry one loose. The probable pitchers, well, not much to report on, because Pittsburgh, as of Thursday, has not released their their pitchers to go in the game. Right now, we have David Peterson going on Friday night versus Mitch Keller. Peterson 5-3. Mitch Keller is 1-10. It looks like Paul Blackburn is going to go on Saturday. He's 0-2. He's going to go against to be determined. And on Sunday, right now, Frankie Montes is scheduled to go, and he is against to be determined as well. So that is the probable pitches, and that's really going to do it for this week's show. I know it was a little longer than usual, lots of stuff to cover, but I hope that you enjoyed it, all the information. So, again, remember, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment if you can, and let us know what's going on. Don't forget the audio podcast is available on all of your favorite apps, your podcast apps. Just look for Mets Musings. So until next time, remember, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go, Mets. We gotta win tonight. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.